Excuse me. Bye bye. Excuse me, what can I listen to whilst I'm doing this? Cool. I have to put an album on my headphones because I can't listen to it on YouTube. Evening, Dead Hand. How's it going, my man? Oh, stop that. My battery's going to die on that phone anyway. Oh, sugar. How's it going, my friend? You had a good weekend? Get up to much? Yeah, going all right. Just ploughing on with the day. Not been the most productive day today, but I just thought I look forward to doing my drawing. I'm really looking forward to getting back into my original piece that I started. Just chilling. Yeah, that's what a weekend's all about, isn't it? I was chatting to an artist acquaintance. She's called Emma Stone. You should check her out. She does like flower paintings, and I was chatting to her because I want to do paintings sort of later down the line, but like I wasn't sure 100% what to use, but I like the paints that she uses because you can paint on top of them and they don't seem to mix too much. Like the opposite of that would be watercolour. I'm not very good with watercolour. I do like what people produce with watercolour a lot. But I don't think I could use them really effectively. I used gouache in college and I was a bit meh on them. So I was chatting about that kind of stuff, like acrylic paint, I think is what she was going to use. Oh, excuse me, what she does use, and I was looking into that. But I'm not going to splurge out on any equipment and stuff. Like I said before, I need a printer until I sell something. So I might put it on like the old socials and stuff like that to see who wants to buy my work. And then I can start bigger and better things. So yeah, just chatting to some arty people online about that. No, I'm not good at painting either. But I think with acrylic, from what I've seen, because there's not a lot of blending that seems to happen. I mean, that's not to say you can't blend acrylic paint, I'm sure you can, but the way that it seems to work with acrylic from what I've seen, especially the way that Emma paints, is that you just can paint and she dots colours on top of other colours without it mixing. So you can just kind of paint solid shapes on top of solid shapes, which seems to be... It's like the closest thing to real life Photoshop, I guess. Which is one of the things I liked about digital painting was you can just keep going on top, you know, going over and over and over different colours. Excuse me. But that's what I liked about it. So I think that's... I'm going to do like a couple of test paintings first, just to get used to it. And they're not that expensive either, I think. I mean, they're not necessarily cheap, but they're not like hugely expensive, so... I mean, no more expensive than pens. Like pens tend to be between what, 20 and £50, depending on how many you get. I suppose the brand as well, which isn't cheap, but it's not like otherworldly expensive. Do you know what I mean? I know canvases aren't too bad in terms of price. What sort of things will you paint? So what I want to try and do is I want to try and bring these pictures to life a bit more. Like I do really enjoy drawing them with pens and that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking maybe if I can kind of make them a bit more 3D and make them pop a bit more, specifically the backgrounds, I think maybe I can get a bit more out of them. And also as well the size of the canvas. Excuse me. So like I'd like to draw... Excuse me, I'm coughing and hocking all over the place. So I would like to draw or make pictures on a bigger size. Like the biggest I seem to be able to do with pens is maybe about A4 to A3. In fact, A3 would be a struggle because of the way I draw. Like I don't really have the space for that. But I think if I was able to invest in like a canvas and an easel, and just do bigger versions of what I do, and like I say, play with the backgrounds and things like that. You know, I'd be able to sell work for, you know, an even bigger sort of price margin as well. I mean, part of the motivation is to be able to sell sort of bigger pieces to make a bit more money. And also, like, I'm seeing a lot of people paint, and the way that they paint is like really intriguing me. I'm thinking I'd love to sort of have a go at trying to create my types of drawing using paints to see if I'm able to do it. But also as well, like there's the financial motivations, but I suppose it's both. It's, you know, financial and artistically motivated. I'd like to maybe make a bit more money, but I think it'd be fun and interesting to paint with them, just to see what happens. Oh, God. Sneezing fit. One of the I was thinking about this the other day. One of the art styles that I like, or I don't know if it's really classed as an art style, but there's an architecture type style that I like called brutalism. So it's like, you know, the sort of really grey, the sort of, you know, grey concrete blocks of flats that you see all over kind of Eastern Europe, you know, North Korea. I think because I've got a like an interest and a taste of like dystopias, but like this sort of bleak, you know, that kind of bleak, kind of grey, concrete aesthetic, but mixed in with like a sci-fi dystopia. And I think it would be something manageable to paint as well. Like I don't know how I would translate that brutalism architecture to paper. I think when I'm drawing stuff on paper, I'm more suited to stuff like, you know, this sort of stuff. But I think if I'm able to use paints, then I'd be able to get more of a sci-fi dystopia feel out of it. And it'd cover sort of big areas as well, and then I could... It's just a sort of a different style to paint. Like I'm interested in that, but I don't know how I'd make that work on paper, so I maybe want to try painting it. Like those big... Like I'm a big fan of like the Dread film. And you know, like you've got those in the mega cities, those massive buildings where it's just peach trees, like it... That kind of futuristic dystopia feel. Like just expanding out the usual sort of blocks of colour that I draw, I'd like to try and paint them. Yeah, like when you have to use like a lot of one colour. There's a few artists. There was an artist that I follow, and I can't remember his name, which is kind of par for the course with me, isn't it? I can't remember. Oh, what was he called? But he did like buildings. They were a bit more aesthetically pleasing, if you like little cottages and little houses. But they were like one colour. And then he'd kind of add like little sort of concrete or sort of brick details, if you know what I mean. And it just looked really good. Yeah, I think the sort of coverage that you get with paint sometimes works better. And like I say, the type of paint that acrylic is, it seems to maybe fit better with the way I would draw it or I would paint it. It's like if I were to draw an outline first, it just seems to sort of fit aesthetically with how I would draw it. Oh, excuse me, that's not burping. Maybe some paint pens on top. Yeah, I've had a look at the acrylic pen. I've actually already got some paint pens, the Posca ones. Where are they? But I've not. I've opened it. I've kind of very briefly used a couple, so yeah. I always wanted to try these, but I just forget to do it. But I think are these acrylic? I don't know. But yeah, I've been meaning to try some drawings with them. But yeah, just to maybe touch up some details or something with it. That'd be cool. But yeah, I've got I even got some mini canvases to practice with those Posca pens on as well, but I just haven't got around to it. I need to kind of use my weekends a bit more productively, I think, to maybe have a little go. Seeing what I can come up with. So yeah, exactly. It's good in a way because it kind of just makes me focus more on sort of this and the other stuff that I'm doing. I don't know what that hand gesture is about, but you know what I mean. The normal stuff that I'm doing. How's your artwork coming along? Have you got anything anything to show? Anything that you've managed to crack out? Set up space. There's a stupid heart symbols in the way. There's a pic on Insta, but still yet to draw anything. Well, it's just a case of when you're ready, isn't it? Like, you know, I don't. Notifications for me are crap on social media. Like, I don't tend to see anything. It's like it just I do follow a lot of people though. I'll have a look. It does say we've got one new post. Nice, looks really good. That camera looks amazing as well. Love that. Is that the same drawing board as mine, but a bigger version? Same make? I want a bigger drawing board, but I don't think my desk's quite big enough. I need to do a little manoeuvre. I swear to God, people wait for me to go online before they start sending me messages. Every flipping time. Ba-ding, ba-ding, here. Look at this, look. Excuse me, can't stop coughing. There was a bit of money to set up, but I think it's going to be with it. Yeah, I remember you saying you got a bit of cheddar. You've definitely spent it wisely, though. I'll tell you that. Just need a bit more practice before I can record a thing. That's it. It's just getting comfortable. Like, I remember when this was way back when I stopped doing 3D work. And I started drawing into sketchbooks again. So this was back when I was doing my movie character stuff, but it was all digitally, so it was a bit of a crutch. So I thought I really need to kind of learn how to draw on paper again, and it felt alien. Like, you know that feeling you get when Like you go back to school off the summer holidays and you have to learn how to write again. But it was like 10 times worse than that. Like just holding a pen or a pencil just felt alien. Trying to draw with it, it was really uncomfortable. So it took me ages to get used to that again. But yeah, I know what you mean. One thing I'll say is, if ever you do a drawing that's meant to be uploaded and you hate it, upload it anyway. Learn to be comfortable with stuff that you don't like. I still struggle with it. Like looking in my sketchbook and seeing drawings that I don't like, it really chaps my buttocks. But I just think, no, leave it up there, because then you can look back on it and, you know, serve as a reminder of something that, even like, there'll no doubt be people who will say they still think it's really good and they like it. But if it's not the kind of drawing you want to do, always look back on it and think, right, make sure you don't do this. It's a good way to kind of develop a bit of a skin as well, when you inevitably get someone who pipes up and says your work's shit. That's the only thing I'll say. Just because I remember there's like 2-3 drawings that I've got online, like in my channel now, that I hate. Getting back into it, I'll need to be more consistent. That's a good way to look. Yeah, I just think, because one of the things I remember being told at college was, one of my tutors said that I'm a perfectionist. So I think I've mentioned this in sort of streams before, where I'll have like the finished picture, like hyper detailed drawing of whatever it is I'm drawing, and I'll want to sort of rush straight to that, and when it's not looking like that, I'll just give up or not bother. So it's learning to kind of live with something that's not perfect that you've drawn. And like you say, consistency's sometimes. It's exactly why I did, you know, one of the reasons that I decided to start streaming, because I thought that's something that kind of needs a schedule. The time-lapse stuff was, but because it was a recording and editing was involved, it was never a direct switch on the camera and go. It was, I can just record it and then edit it whenever and put it up whenever. It wasn't... I think I tried to schedule that, but I ultimately failed. But yeah, one thing I'll say, confidence is a massive thing. Like everybody does it as well. Like everybody sets ridiculous standards for themselves, thinking, is this worthy to go online yet? You know, just gonna bend that a little bit there. You know, it's one of those things where you'll never ever think your work's good enough unless it's absolutely perfect. But you know, it's impossible. It's not just you, everybody does it. I did it. And even now, like I think, fuck. Like I always think, oh, is this good enough to go online? Like a good example of this is last Friday's drawing. You know, I had fun doing it, but I've looked back on it. I don't know if it's the colour, but I just really don't like it. I think it looks dog shit. I'm really not a fan of it. But it's one of those where it's like, you know, it's still an important drawing to have in there to think, right, I want to do better the next time I do it. And streaming, there's like an immediacy to it, like there's no hiding. Like I can't edit anything. It just ends up the way it ends up, and If you don't like it, well, it's up there now. You can't do much about it. Excuse me. I have the added pressure of the negative voices telling me it's not. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen, though, with the colours of some of the pens that I've got. They're just not going to be nice colours, are they? Like I said, that pink one that I'm going to have to do soon. I mean, there's not really much I can do with that, is there? But yeah, you've got... Shut up! You've got that extra hurdle. But what... I suppose what I would say to that is... But I mean, I don't know, like how constant... Like if you're able to focus on something, if that helps. Like, and if it's something that you really enjoy doing. I suppose the good thing is the drawing is subjective as well. So you could possibly respond with, well, in your opinion, but I think it's fucking boss, this. I don't know exactly how it works, but... But like I said last time we spoke, I think you deal with it so admirably. Like, it's such a difficult thing to do, and you've got such a good mindset to it, that you've got such a good attitude and mindset towards it that I think you'll be fine. Just take your time with it, I guess. You know, put it out there, put your work up when you're ready, and you're comfortable. Well, that's it. If you've got experience with it, then yeah, just crack on. I mean, that's a long time. So what happened then, if you don't mind me asking, and obviously this is on sort of the internet, so you don't have to share anything, of course. But how did it start? Did it just appear out of nowhere one day? Was there sort of trauma that happened, or? Because I can imagine, like, if one day, you know, mentally you're sound, and then it just appears out of nowhere. I can imagine that being really sort of scary. My mum died. I see. Really sorry to hear that. Yeah, I can imagine if... Excuse me. I don't know if it's the right word, but or right phrase, but like, please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, would it be classed as a mental break? Like something like snaps and like trauma does something? I don't know if that's the right term, so please correct me if I'm not right there. The fuck keeps messaging me. Oh, excuse me, you yawned like a madman. Threw myself into work for a year and then had a break. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that, man. That's young as well. Like, well, I don't know how old your mum was, but if you lose a parent sort of around our age, that seems quite young to me. Like, there's a few friends from school, not a lot, but a handful, who over the last sort of 2 to 4 years have like posted about losing their parents. I know one like friend from school who's lost both of his parents, and you just think, fucking hell, that just seems young to me. Like, and I don't think his parents were older than my parents. So yeah, I can imagine that being just unbelievably difficult. To live with. So yeah, but like I say, you seem to have been like dealing with it and coping with it unbelievably well. Like taking it in your stride. The fact that you're able to talk about it and, you know, have a little dig at yourself for it as well. It's such a healthy way to go about it. Like, I can only applaud you for it. And it's like trying to, I suppose, help your mind cope with it. Like, I know, like working out's a really good it's a good mechanism for mental health. Again, I'd like to assume that translates sort of well into other areas as well. Like, it helps me. You know, art's another one. Like, I love using art as a means to just escape from the world. It's one of my favourite things to do. I was 55 at the time. Your mum, I think, is the same age as my mum. Or she would have been the same age as my mum. My mum was born in 56. From the Community Mental Health team. Can't take all the credit now. No, but the fact that you obviously went and sort of sought help, sought help, and, you know, you took it on board, and you know, stuff. You know, an amazing thing that, you know, the good community of people that were able to help. It's good to hear. But yeah, R.I.P. Mrs. Deadhand. But it's scary though, like I haven't lost a family member. Like, I've lost like grandparents and stuff, but I was way too young to understand it, or, you know, like, we weren't necessarily close. I lost a cousin not too long ago who has the exact same name as I do. It's my mum's sister's son, and like, that was awful. Like, I couldn't go to the funeral because, you know, it was the day where the kids were at school and stuff. But like, obviously messaged my auntie and things like that, and we'd never massively communicated, my cousin and me. Like, we lived abroad a lot of our lives and stuff like that, but it's things like that make you think, do you know what, you need, make a bit more effort in your life, kind of thing, because anything can happen. But it's really scary. But think art is one of the best medicines, personally. Just get behind your book and go. Nothing can get you. You just think, I don't give a fuck. Draw what I want, and I'm going to be happy doing it. Like, it took me ages as well to come to terms with the idea of, from an art perspective, sticks and music on vibe. Well, that's saying it. Like with art, I always thought, again, this may be my insecurities as a perfectionist, but you had to draw like picture perfect, proportionally amazing people, or it was, bowls of fruit and stuff like you had to do at school, and you had to be at the standard or the level of all these other artists. Like, you had to draw specific or paint specific things to even have a chance. Like, I always had this thing in my head that in order to do a job, you had to have a specific qualification, like basically a piece of paper to say that you are allowed to do it. I never ever thought that, well, no, fuck that. I can just, if I want to go and draw or paint, I can just go and do it on my own, and I'll paint or draw whatever I want. I think that's one of the few advantages that social media has had. I think one of the few benefits of it. Like, the overwhelming majority of social media is an absolute shit tip, but I think that is one area where, it's given people the kind of scope to express themselves where they otherwise wouldn't. Which I think is very, very good. That's it, as an expression of, quite exactly. I think it took a long time for me to kind of get that. I think I treated art as like you have to have a degree in it and all that kind of jazz, but no, you can just go off and do what you want. I remember as well, like as a kid, I actually just used to love drawing basic shapes and lines, but I thought, oh, you can't really do that. But then when you get older, you just think, well, why can't you? Just connecting lines and connecting dots and shapes and making them overlap just to create interesting structures and build out of what you will. I just like drawing aesthetically pleasing things. And I think there's just something really nice to look at when you see like a load of shapes lined up or colour coordinated, or I don't know, you can kind of make your own interpretation of what it looks like. I just really like that. And like you say, that's the beauty about drawing. It's an expression, not an interpretation. Not a qualification. Just vibes, as the kids would say. I always feel like I've got a crunch in my shoulders. I found I like stippling. Yeah, I do like that style. And I'll kind of dot it about here and there. Like in some of the early ones in here, I did a bit of it. I say a bit of it. Does it really count? Yeah, like here and there, like messing about with dots and dashes. It's not really stippling, is it? I suppose in there is probably the biggest example. But I think because, like you say, because you have to slow it right down, it doesn't flow naturally for me for the speed that I like to go at. That's not to say that I'm a fast drawer, because I don't think I am, but there's got to be like an element of patience that you need with stippling, I think. I don't think that's why I could do, like I see people do like ultra realistic, hyper realistic paintings and drawings of people, like or animals, and they're absolutely incredible. But I don't think I have the patience for that kind of art. Like I used to draw, well, like, I used to draw sort of characters before, and I remember I had to do a commission, and it was a painting of two relatives, and I just thought, this is just boring the tits off me. Like, if it's something that I want to draw, like, I can, adopt a bit more patience for it. But if it's just something I'm not particularly interested in, I struggle to get through it. Again, I think this kind of drawing that I'm doing now, it's more my speed, because, I'm always changing it. I don't know where the picture's going to go, which makes it interesting. But yeah, I've seen people do some incredible work with stippling. Like, I don't know how they do it. Like, there's that one, it's not quite stippling, but have you seen, there's a few artists that do this. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like, I'm not even suggesting I'd have the skill to do it that realistic, but I certainly don't have the patience. There's some old drawings I've got somewhere. When I was about 15 or 16, I drew a car. I used to quite like drawing cars. And I have got... Again, I'll have to organise all my art folders and art books and all that sort of stuff, but I'll do a video kind of going through all the stuff I've drawn. But yeah, I haven't got the patience for it. But what was I saying there? Yeah, there's artists, like, they'll create art from anything. Like, I've seen this one guy, I think it's a guy if I remember right, I think there's maybe a couple of people who do this, where they'll use dice and they'll create like dot art from the dice. Like, they'll turn it a certain way and they'll create and it looks exactly like the person. Like, you straight away know who it is. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, I could never do stuff like that. That's way beyond my skill set to even see that. Rubik's Cube art's another one as well, where people, they turn Rubik's Cubes and make pixel art out of it, basically. Like, again, the patience and the sort of intelligence to do that, like, that's just a whole other kettle of fish, isn't it? What do I want to do here? Absolute madness. Madness, I tell you. But yeah, I think I found my kind of thing with... I love sort of shape and letter manipulation. It's why I love graffiti so much. And graffiti is something, again, I want to do more of it, but it's just something I'm going to put on hold at the minute, because I, like I've said before, I get excited about different ideas. Oh, I'd really have to try this. I'd really have to do this, but it makes it so it's kind of all over the place. So it's like, no, just focus on getting your drawings and your normal artwork up first, and then you can look at doing something else. Different headspace mindset. Yeah. 100%. Like, some of the things people used to make art, it's just, it boggles my mind. It boggles the brains. So it does. I keep getting message requests on Instagram. Like, I don't answer them anymore. Where people ask if I do commissions or if I do like if I sell them. And most of the time it's okay. Like, well, I suppose half the time it's okay where it's just genuine questions, but I do tend to get a lot of crypto people. Kind of, they'll pop up and say you should do NFTs, and I've noticed they tend to be quite aggressive. And I'll be like, nah, like I haven't got anything against NFTs. Like, I'm not one of those anti-NFT guys. I think, again, I just think make art however you want to make it. Like, if you want to make it as an NFT, make it as an NFT. Like, I don't understand the objection to NFT. I think somebody made the argument that it's like environmentally damaging, and someone did. I think I've got a video saved that I mean to watch it to try and understand, but I don't know. I don't know how it can be any more or less environmentally damaging than anything else, but I guess that's why I have to watch the video. Yeah, they're like, you should do it. Like, it's like, what, you should do this. It's like, I'm surprised. Like, they'll be really aggressive, like, or guilt trip. You're like, well, I'm really surprised that an artist in the modern day wouldn't. You're just hurting yourself. You're just doing yourself out of money. I'm like, all right, whatever you say, chief. I don't know. And the thing is, it's like, I'm always never convinced when people kind of have to go at you aggressive like that. I'm never convinced that they're fully confident in what they're selling. I always think if you have to be pushy and aggressive like that, sounds to me like what you're selling is bullshit. But like I say, if you want to go and sell your NFTs, you go sell your NFTs. It seems to be too, like, the market for NFTs and crypto, because it's tied in with crypto, isn't it? It just seems to be way too unstable. Like, 1 minute it's ultra valuable, the next minute it's worth nothing, the next minute it's like, I ain't got time to piss about learning about flipping crypto value. Just, I don't know, can I go down the shops and buy some bacon and my groceries with it, and my apples and bog roll and stuff? Can I go and, will they accept it? If they don't, I'm not sure I give a shit. It's the new religion, yeah. It's like, I'm not sure I give a toss, you know what I mean? Can we fill up the car with it? When we go on holiday. And then obviously the new AI phenomenon. I think people get I can understand the anger around AI art, because it shouldn't. I think I've spoken about this before, where if you use another artist's style as a prompt, that shouldn't be allowed. I think that's. Or I'll say this: certainly not to make money from it. Absolutely not. I don't think it should replace any jobs either in the market. I 100% agree with that. Where it shouldn't take the jobs of like concept artists and things like that. Absolutely not. I can understand people getting annoyed. Like, I thought ArtStation made a massive balls up when they said they'd include it on their website. I'm like, no. Have it a separate thing. Like, I think there is separate AI art. And I personally would never, ever, ever buy a piece of AI art ever. But instead of getting really angry about it, the way I think about it is this: like, use it as a reference tool. Like, sometimes, like when you go out and you want to take photographs of like buildings or something, like I do that sometimes. Like there was a colliery in the village I used to live in. It's been knocked down now, and I was lucky enough to get a couple of pictures of it. It was such a unique looking weird building. I don't know where else I'd be able to get a picture of that. But if you use AI as a reference tool and say, right, I'm trying to think of a specific thing to paint or draw, but I need help with referencing. So can you, if you put in a prompt, blah 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 blah, and it's like, oh, that's giving me a bit of inspiration. That's a good idea. I'll do something with that, and I'll like I say, brutalism is an architecture style that's kind of influencing me a little bit at the minute. But mixing it with, say, futuristic dystopia, there's not a lot of real world reference for it. But if you use AI, you can maybe get a bit of help with that type of thing. So instead of being really angry about it, use it. Just use it as an extra reference tool, like you would your camera. Make it do something for you instead of, because it's never going away. So I just think, well, fuck it. I'll like I said, I'd never buy it, and I wouldn't ever condone any sort of artist being, having it used to rip off artists. I certainly don't condone it. Like if a studio said they would accept AI art as concept art, I would absolutely be dead against that. As long as it can exist in a place where it doesn't take work or money or credit away from real artists, I think it could be genuinely a useful tool. That's what I'm saying. Because I have found it quite useful, thinking, that's given me an idea that I'm not sure I've seen anywhere else. But I mean, people might disagree with that, but I just think, what's the point in getting angry about something you can't put away? Like, the toothpaste out the tube, instead of getting angry for it, make it work for you. Get something out of it. You know what I mean? Now you just have to convince the rest of... Well, yeah, that's true. Like, I know, like, people in this modern age, people are more interested in getting fucking angry about stuff and shouting about stuff. But one of the things that I've learned growing up, again, I'm not saying I'm perfect or people should be doing this or whatever, but because I get quite frustrated I get frustrated quite easily about things, and I don't like that about myself. I get frustrated about the fact that I get frustrated about stuff. But one of the ways I've tried to kind of handle it is, right, can I do something about that? Can I do something about this particular thing? No. Then why am I angry about it? Then what's the point? What's the point in having any emotion towards it at all? Can I change this? No. What's the point? I don't care then. And like I say, AI art, directly affects the industry that you and I work in. But the one thing that I like, or one of the things I like about the drawings I do now is, and one of the goals I had when I started doing this kind of art, is I wanted this kind of art to be distinctly mine, so when people saw it, they'd know I did it. Like, without the signature, they could go, oh, that looks like Jamie Barclay's art. And no one can take that away from me. And like I say, I completely understand the frustrations and the anger towards AI art, because they are legitimate. Like, if it's taking money and credit away from real artists and real people who are trying to work, that's unacceptable. But because it's something that exists online, it is never going away. So my whole thing is, well, because I didn't like it at first, thinking, and I even tried it, and I thought, this is fucking rubbish, this. Like, I remember, was it Night Cafe? Maybe I'm just not taking advantage of the prompts properly, but I just remember using it thinking, this is fucking shit, this. But I've seen other people get really good results from using AI prompts. And I'm thinking, do you know what? If you just use that to create your own work, then just make it work for you. And like I said, I would never, ever, 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 ever buy a piece of AI art. Never. I felt sorry. There was someone who I followed recently, actually, and this is one of the this is one of the negatives that is frustrating. I followed somebody on TikTok a few days ago. I really loved their art, like the style of it. It was very. They were a Procreate artist, and they did kind of cartoons. Is that cartoon? I'm not looking at my head blocking the fucking thing there. Yeah. Let me move this down. I really like the style of art that they did. And there was a few comments accusing them of being an AI artist. And I thought, yeah, that was inevitable, really, wasn't it? You know, digital artists especially. Like, I mean, you can't accuse me of doing it. You're watching me with the pen in my real hand, so I'm not in danger there. But anyone who's a digital artist, you know, that's going to be a new thing that happens now, isn't it? Where they're going to get accused of being an AI artist. And he, you know, showed a video. You know, he did a quick screen record of what he was doing. But I just thought, yeah, that's going to be the next thing, isn't it? Pretty much every digital artist is going to be accused of AI art now. Like, one of the comments that really irritated me was, looks like AI art, that. And I just shut up, because you could say that about every single piece of digital art you see on the internet now. Looks like AI art, that. Whereas I think that, like, I've seen AI art and it looks like somebody's legitimately painted it digitally. I mean, that's the whole point of it. But I just think if you put it in there, that it's AI art, then it just solves the confusion, you know what I mean? But yeah, people just, I don't think people need to be as outraged about certain things. Like I say, if it is taking things, I'll say it again, if it is taking away work and money and credit from people, then yes, absolutely the outrage is deserved. I'm not for a second going to deny that, but like I say, try and, instead of just constantly being outraged about something that you can't change, it's like, right, why don't we... Obviously, you can fight for sort of rules and restrictions to say, you know, AI art is not acceptable or not allowed when it comes to jobs and stuff, but, you know, use it to create your own work. That's what I'm doing. Because I often feel guilty, like when I look at artists that inspire me, I actually often feel guilty about using their work as inspiration, because sometimes I think, oh my, does it look like I'm copying them? Like, I get a bit of insecurity around that. Like, oh, does it look like I'm copying them or trying to steal their work? And it's like, I'm not, honestly. It's just I really like this. But I'd never feel guilty of taking inspiration from AI art. Because they can't have a go at you for it. It's like, oh, you've copied my art. It's like, what do you mean I've copied your art? Copy complex, yeah. It is, like as long as they... Like, I've spoken about Coob's work about this when he did his. And he said, I spoke to somebody else about it as well. Like, he took inspiration from my work, but it's clearly not my work. Like, and he's made something brilliant with it. Like, I think that's something important as well. Like, don't ever be sort of insecure about. Like, 'cause I know there are some dickhead artists out there who say, well, they'll try and take credit for it. It's like, no, mate, he's clearly done something off his own back there. I actually think it's a good, exactly, yeah, inspiration, yeah, 100% agree. I actually think it's a good thing as well. Like, I didn't realise this until I did it. Like, when I drew my first set of drawings in this style, and I, like, as you know, I was inspired by Peter Draws, and I drew, my drawings were a little bit too close to his, but I think it was important for me to do that, to realise that that's not my kind of work. Like, I can't draw that way, or I can't draw that way that would satisfy, me. Like, I look at Peter Draw's work and think it's amazing. But he's been doing that kind of work for years. But when I was doing it, I thought, I can't make this look the way I want it to look. And that's when, I started experimenting and, finding my own style. Like, I'm still developing it. Like, I don't think you really truly ever land on your one style. I think you're always kind of moving around and things like that. I don't quite know what to do with this bit down here. I'll come back to it. But yeah, I totally agree with that. Everyone is inspired by someone, 100%. I saw a thing the other day. Like, I've always wanted to go back to the Tate Modern, because I've always really disliked modern art. Like, I've just never got it. I've just always thought it was a load of random shit. But I've kind of, there's some bits I have seen that I've thought, that's actually quite clever. I do quite like that. And the only time I went to the Tate Modern was for a college trip when I was 16. So, not really the right age, since all we were bothered about is going out and getting pissed as soon as the trips were over. But I would like to go back and maybe sort of see it all with mature eyes, like, just to see if I can maybe understand it or get it. Like, I saw this thing, I think it was on Twitter. Was it Twitter or Instagram? One of the socials. And it had like a load of Damien Hirst's work. I think it was TikTok, actually. Someone did a little slideshow. And like, I've never understood, like, where did Damien Hirst come from? Like, he's like, I'd love to sort of maybe educate myself on his trajectory, if you like. Like, he came from kind of nothing. Well, I don't say he came from nothing, but like, how's the best way to describe it? Like, got paid an absolute boatload of money for artistic things that you look at and just go, I don't get this. Like the cow cutting in half. I think he's done, was it the dots? And then somebody kind of put side by side of artists that have done, but that's it though. I don't know if they were artists or if they were people who have done something similar before. I'd have to maybe revisit that slideshow. I don't know if the point that person was making was that he got inspiration from non-artistic things, or if somebody else had done it before him and not got the credit. But it's one of those where I've never kind of got his art. Like I've never found it like particularly inspiring or interesting, or I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those things I'd like to maybe revisit. Good old Damien Hirst. That's it. That is his name, isn't it? Damien Hirst. Not all art is art to all, as my teacher used to say. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I remember there was again, I don't know who said it, but I remember hearing it at school where the purpose or the point of art. Oh, what was the line? The only point or the only function of art is itself and nothing else. It was along those lines. I can't remember the quote exactly. Like the only function of art is itself, or the only point of art is itself and nothing else. But I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. I don't know if I'm not sure I can articulate it into how exactly I would mean it, or whatnot. But I'm not sure I fully 100% agree with that, because you can find art in something that does have a function other than it being art. Like cars are a perfect example of this. Like video games are a perfect example of this. Movies, books. But I suppose maybe they meant in the aesthetic sense. Like visually. Visually art, there's no point of art. I remember as well at school when one of my art teachers asked us what the simplest description of art would be. Or the simplest description of an artistic picture would be. And nobody could really define, like people, a lot of the kids tried, but the description that they made, that they said was marks on paper. It's literally marks on paper. I'm like, yeah, but again, I don't know the point of the lesson you're trying to teach us there. It's like, right, you literally put a mark on a bit of paper and you do enough of them and it becomes something artistic. Yeah, sometimes I just don't understand the point teachers try to make. Excuse me. I'm just drawing the thing. I'm not finished, I'm just putting this in just to... Fluids. Okay. Emotion, that's what I think art is. Someone put emotion to get emotion out of you. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, I think. I think the way I think more of it now is enjoyment. Like, you know, if you get something out of, I suppose it's similar to kind of what you're saying there, emotion. That's what I think. Someone's put emotion in to get emotion out of you. That's probably the best way to describe it, I think. Like, you put sort of passion and joy into a piece, and, you know, inevitably someone else is going to get something out of it. I think I'm maybe a bit more selfish with my art now. Like, it's not that I don't care what people think of it. I think I've kind of accepted that I've become better at accepting, I should say, that not everyone is going to like what you do. That's the whole point of, you know, art and creativity. Like, it is entirely subjective. But confident enough in that someone or that enough people are going to come along on the journey with you. That there are going to be people out there who are interested and like the same sort of things that you do. And it's not necessarily about creating this most, you know, an ultra realistic, you know, hyper real painting of something. It's just drawing something that interests you and, you know, enjoying the process of doing it, and people come along the ride with you. Like, I think you put it. I think that's the best way it could be possibly put. I think what you've said there. You should keep hold of that and put it on a T-shirt. It's a really good way to phrase it. But it got me thinking. There's an artist I follow who's talking about. He made a video earlier about commissions, and he was like, "Oh, I don't understand why people don't take commissions." Like, I don't take commissions. I'm not, like, closed off to it. Like, I may start taking commissions in the future. But one of the reasons why I don't like, one of the reasons I don't take commissions, at the moment at least anyway, is I'm not great at dealing with pressure. Like, I feel like I'd have to put all my effort into that. And I don't think I'd enjoy the pressure of somebody wanting me to do a piece of work exactly for them. And then, like, I'm not saying everyone would do this, and it probably would be rare that this would happen, but where they might say, "Oh, I'm not like that. Can you change this? And can you do that? And can you rejiggle this?" And, like, I don't think I'd like that, because I think it's not like a graphic design project where I'm creating like a shop sign for you, where those kind of things matter. You know, it's an entirely expressive piece of artwork, so, you know, it wouldn't really fit in that way. I just think the type of work that I do is best suited to, like, I'll just do a load of drawings and there'll be something there for you. Like, the drawings that I do are so entirely random, I don't even know how I could commission something for it. Maybe you could maybe pick the colours. I guess. And maybe if eventually when I get back into doing graffiti words, that area, then yeah, probably. But these kind of drawings, I don't know. They're just, I don't know how it would even work. Like, can you draw this particular shape in this bit and this? And like I said, it's more my problem as well. Like I just don't thrive well under pressure. Like, I'm not great at other people telling me what to do. Like, I'm very, very not good at that. And I know it's not exactly done in that sense, like, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't think I'm suited to that kind of thing. I suppose what I mean is if somebody said, "Can you do a drawing specifically for me?" Like the key word there being specific. It's like, what would the specifics be? I think my drawings are too vague. Like I say, when I go back to maybe doing graffiti or something, or then maybe I could understand it. But with these ones, I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving myself excuses not to do it, which is entirely possible. I just think I like doing my own thing too much without anyone over my shoulder saying, "Can you do this, that, or the other?" I just don't like that. I'm just like, I'll draw what I want to draw, and if you want to, buy one from me, then sound. Oh, excusez-moi. That's the best way to go about it, I think. Yeah, I mean, but I know people would disagree with that, and that's fine, but yeah, I'm just not. I mean, the commissions I've done before were so ultra specific, like even I couldn't get, unhappy about that. Like, they were literally a photo of two people that I just had to paint in black and white digitally and make them as realistic as I could. There's no ambiguity about it. It's, here's the picture, repaint it for me. So or it was two separate pictures of two different people that they wanted in the same one. I'm like, yeah, gotcha, I can do that. And away I went. There was no, can you change this, can you change that? There's literally nothing to change. It's a photograph that you've asked me to paint. I just think when it gets into sort of, when there's wiggle room, like I've got a couple of friends, like a few of my friends are graphic designers and photographers, because we all went to the same college and that's what we all did. And one of them who works freelance, the amount of problems he's run into where someone said they want a sign for a shop and he's kind of advised them against a certain colour because of a certain reason. Like, it was this really ugly bright pink. It's like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, he's been doing graphic design for 20 years. No, I want really bright pink. And he's like, right, fine. But it's because you're kind of in that position of, well, you've got to give the customer what they want, no matter how shite it is. And then, it ends up being shit. And people say it's shit and then it's somehow your fault. Isn't that his fault? That's what you asked for. Like, I couldn't. Like, I just couldn't cope with that. It's why I don't think I'd ever use Etsy. Because it just takes one. Like, you know, most people would be perfectly pleasant and lovely and all that sort of stuff, but it just takes one knobhead. Well, I thought the customer service was... And it's like, you know, you haven't done anything wrong at all, but they just want to whinge. And I have heard a few stories where people, like artists who have used Etsy for a while, you know, that one complaint can monkey wrench their entire business. You know, even if it's just for like a couple of months and it's recoverable, but it's still the inconvenience of that and having to deal with these fucking cretins. Like, I just couldn't cope with that. Like when you've worked in customer service before and you're forced to eat shit from these people because your manager might tell you off, then it's like, nah. I won't tolerate it in my own business. Customers are twats, plain and simple. Yeah, like I say, I mean, I used to work at Game Station when that was still knocking about. And like I say, the overwhelming majority of customers, because Game Station was a good store before before the dickheads at Games tried to corporatise it. Like, it was really popular because it was more of a casual place. Like, you know, the staff actually wanted to chat to you about video games. It's why the shop did so well. But like I say, idiots in charge who don't know anything just think, oh, we need to be all professional, wear suit. More than quite wear suits, but you know what I mean. That kind of attitude. But you'd still always get the one, and even if they were wrong, do you know what I mean? You'd have to eat shit from them. Like, I remember one guy came in with a UMD. Do you remember the PSP games, the UMDs? D to the C, welcome in. Good to see you. I used to love Game Station, proper game shop. Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed working there. Like, the only problem we had in Game Station was our manager was clueless. But when he wasn't in, the shop ran so smoothly. Like, not a hiccup. Everything was done on time. Customer service was good. Everyone wanted to be there. But yeah, like I remember there was one guy who came in just with the UMD. Not case, not receipt, nothing. Just the disc. I think it might have been a film. I don't even know if it was a game. It might have been a film. And he said, I've bought this from this shop. Can I have it? I don't want it. Or can I return it? The fuck was that? The wind knocks something over outside. I think it's okay. Yeah, but he just says, you know, I want a receipt. Or sorry, I want a refund. And I said, you know, as you do, well, if you don't have a receipt or any sort of proof of payment, you know, I can't really refund it. Like, you've just wandered in here with a UMD. It's like, you know, I don't even know that. I don't know that you bought it from here. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? And then he just started kicking off. This shop is shit. Shit shop, it's shit. And I'm like, but mate, what do you want me to do? And then the manager obviously has to step in, and they say, right, as an act of good faith, we'll do it just this once. It's like, no, he's never coming back, is he? he's got a free bit of cash or a free gift card or a free refund, whatever it is. You never gave a toss. And like, you've got to eat it when they shout and swear at you, and it's just infuriating. Oh, messages. Why do people message me all the time when I'm working? Oh, no, right, I'll have to sort that out. Anyway, but yeah, I remember there was another instance at a game station. This one was funny though. There was a woman who came in, and she was looking for PlayStation 3 games for her son, I think. And she asked me, are there any games about God? Now, at first, I thought, I'll not take that literally. I just thought she meant gods. Like, maybe she's looking for a specific title and she doesn't know the name of it, or blah, 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 blah. But then sort of trying to ask more questions. And she meant... And she meant literally the Lord God, Jesus of the Bible. So my suggestion was, I thought, I don't know, because I don't know anything about this stuff. So my suggestion to her was Dante's Inferno. And I told my mate behind the counter that, he pissed himself. She left this. She didn't, because I just thought, no, surely you just mean gods. Like, maybe your son's told you some vague information. So I thought, Shadow of the Colossus, mate? Well, they're not really gods, they're monsters. I thought Dante's Inferno, like religion. I thought, I don't know, just stuff like that. But I think she meant the actual Lord. I'm like, nah. I don't think there is. It's not really a big market in the video games industry for the Almighty. What can I say? Gamers in the Bible, they just don't... I don't know. Doesn't seem to be a heavy market for it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I did enjoy working there. It was just a shame. Manager was such a tit. Part of me wish I did stay there, but it did actually go under when I was at the job I left that for, even though the job I left it for was awful. The only reason I left it was to get more money, but what a shit show that ended up being. Working in a call centre. Ugh. Yeah, Game Station was a great shop. I got the amount of games I got from there whilst I worked there. So it was back in the Xbox 360 and PS3 days. The amount of cheap games and cheap accessories I got from there for those consoles was a joy. Like, I've still got them all as well. Midnight launches again. Yeah, GTA San Andreas I got from, I was at uni in Swansea. And I got GTA San Andreas from there. Not at midnight though, I did wait the next day. Because there is no game ever that I'd think I would wait until midnight for. Yeah, GTA San Andreas I remember getting. But no, it was a good place to work. Like I say, it's just a shame we had an inept manager. And it was where I live. It was situated in like one of the rougher parts of town, so it always used to get like the smackheads popping, like always trying to dupe you. And one of the most common ways to distract, or to try and distract you, like you could see what they were doing, was, have you got a bit of paper and a pen, mate? So I'd give them a bit of till roll and they'd write something down while someone else would nick, I don't know, like a £10 gift voucher. Because we didn't keep anything live on the floor. I think the only live things were maybe the odd accessory and, like I say, gift card type stuff, which weren't worth lots. But all the games and all the sort of consoles and the big stuff was always in like the storeroom. It was never on the floor. Right, I'm going to leave that there and start detailing some of it. Not detail loads of what? How long have I been on even? I haven't even checked my battery. 36%. Been on for an hour 50. Yeah. It was just so obvious as well, but it's like you can't, like if they're doing something innocently. Have you got time, mate? I'm like, right, okay. Is this the angle we're going for today? Asking what the time is. But it's like if you caught them once, you could ban them. It's like, right, now get out the shop, mate. I personally think we were too lenient. Like when it was obvious what they were in there for, it's like, just ban them. Just as soon as you see them, just say, nah, you're not allowed in the shop, mate. Don't care, you're not allowed in the shop. Get the fook out. Right, I think that noise was the bin got knocked over, and it's outside our back gate, so I'm going to have to go and pick it up in a minute. So I'll try and get this one done. Seabear, welcome in. Good to see you. You had a good weekend? Just putting some details on this thing. Just been chatting about art, AI art, commission work, the joys of customers in shops when I used to work at Game Station. Some fun conversations. Oh, I'm glad you had a good weekend. Yeah, the joys of social media and all that jazz, and the definitions of art as well. What teachers used to say to us about what art is, and all kinds of interesting conversations. I'm not being as talkative at the minute because I'm concentrating on this, the fine details. I say fine details, not really. I wonder where the usual crew is. Not sure, mate. Not sure. I imagine Koo might be kicking some ass on Rocket League. It's unusual not seeing Annie here. He's normally he normally checks in on the spot. I imagine Samantha's got bigger problems with it being minus 1 billion degrees in Canada. I'm not sure where If is. But like I've said this before, like when Mondays can be hit and miss, can't they? Like it's a Monday. You know, the weather's still shitty. People just want to put their feet up and maybe watch a film. You know, just veg, do something else. Left-handed painter's probably doing his own stuff. And he was streaming on TikTok for a bit before Christmas. Got 5 in today at the minute though. That's pretty good. Like I say, 9 is still the record. Maybe one day we'll beat that. Who knows? I like Virginia. Art's good company, is good compensation. Yeah, cheers, man. I really enjoy the YouTube hangouts. They're just nice and chilled, nice and laid back. It's a good break from the other stuff. Like, it's just that there's no sort of pressure on the drawings that I do, and it's like I say, we're just hanging out, shooting the breeze. I don't think there's anything else I can really do with this one. I think I don't like not having a background on it, but I might do a similar background to this, just the sort of extra lines and stuff. I did like that effect a lot, actually. I'm going to do it. I'm already doing it. Looks great, dude. Thank you. Hang on, I'll move it up a bit. It's out of shot a little bit. Excuse me. Oh, my asthma is playing up a little bit. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't need to be an ultra detailed picture, but just some subtle details at the end can help, I think. Clock. Are you asking what the time is? If you are, I can tell you it's 10 to 8 in the UK. think I'm going to leave that there. I am very happy with that one. That's probably one of my favourite kind of drawings to do. Just basic lines and shapes and subtle backgrounds and stuff. I do really enjoy doing these ones. I just don't do them all the time because I don't want to just sort of do repetitive drawings, but yeah, they're my favourite type of drawing, or one of my favourite types of drawings to do. Ugh. So I'm going to leave that there. I mean, 8 o'clock, it's pretty much what we're on. Yeah, 2 hours 5, bang on. Thank you to everyone who joined in. Dead Hand, always good to see you. Love chatting to you. D to the C, thank you for popping in. Sea Bear, thank you for popping in as well. And anyone else who came in. All the sort of views and likes. Really appreciate it. For those wondering, I do stream every Monday and every Friday on YouTube, and I'll be streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on TikTok around about the same time. I'll be carrying on with this, which is basically just a very big version of that. So yeah, join in on TikTok to see me finish that off. I think I'm about 10 hours into that one. I'm estimating it'll take about 20 hours to finish, but we'll see. But thank you again to everyone who joined in. Hopefully see you Friday on here next, or TikTok. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of the week. Thank you for the stream, and I'll catch you later.